So before we proceed to Genesis 1, allow me to lay the foundation here and say that this is what the names of the books in Hebrew look like, and that is what they're called in Hebrew. The arrangement of the books in this Bible is different from any King James work. Also, I want to say that this book is not it's not a complete book. These books are only 66 in number, but the Ethiopian Bible has more books than this book. The Ethiopian Bible is also older than any King James book. I pray that as we proceed with this Bible study, I will get a hand on the Ethiopian Bible, which is why any African still in doubt of Christianity and how this book came to be, I want you to know for sure that this book was in Ethiopia before it was in Europe. So this book was in the land of Kush before it was in Europe. This is an African history book. This is an African story. You know, the Jews are not the current inhabitants of the Israel. Those ones are called Jewish, you know, they're not Jews. But I don't want to get political or racist here. I'm just saying, like, this is a black man's book. This is a black man's history. Although now the Gentile is the white man, okay? The white man is the Gentile in the story. The black man is the is the first recipient of this book. Also, I want to say that this book is not future tense when it comes to God. Okay? Everything contained in this book is God's past. This is Abba's past. It is Abba narrating these to Moses. And there is also a lost book of Moses, because this is not how the story was narrated. You see, when Moses was narrated to this story, he was with Elohim now on the mountain. And that is why Moses was able to write these stories. I also want to make it clear that before Moses wrote Genesis, Adam wrote books. Adam told stories. Adam told stories about the Garden of Eden. So personally, I wasn't always comfortable with the fact that Adam lived 900 years. I don't want to go ahead of me, but how do we give the guy only what? 2 chapters? And the next thing we know, Adam is dead. After 900 years, that's a long time. I wanted to know what Adam's experience was, what Adam's story was when Adam is telling it. I also want to tell this to all Christians, that this book is not the original breath of God. This is not the breath of God. This is not the breath of God. The breath of God was written on tablets. It was never on ink and paper in those days. So there are things that we need to come out of denial so that we understand where we are at. We have a translated book which has so many omissions. So many books have been obscured. Even the books that we have access to, they still have obscured information. Like, the reason why they removed some of those books, their explanation will be that the books do not align with this book. So, I don't know. I always felt like I don't have, like, no one should have the authority to tell me what I should know about him. I should decide what to know about him. Actually, he should decide. And if he has books of Abraham, there is even a book of Abraham. I am yet to get a hold of that. There is a book of Abraham. Job himself wrote a book. So this book has so many gaps. And I'm telling you, hapa tunachambua. Me, I'm not here to defend anyone, especially Rome, because they're the ones who compiled this book. And if we must leave denial behind, I want you to know that this book was translated first by Babylonians. King Nebuchadnezzar was the first person to translate these. So when it was translated in Babylon, it was also biased, because the Babylonians did not do a thorough job when they were translating it in their language. And then there came Media and Persia. And then there came the Greeks. And then there came now the Romans, the Catholic Church, the Vatican. Those are the people behind this book. I personally believe that when you go to Vatican, I will be reading a different thing from this. If I can go to the archives in the Vatican there, I will find so much information that is not here. And I'm not here to make you feel like this is less of what you thought it was. It just is what it is. What you make of that information is really just up to you. So this is Elohim's past. Elohim did not create the earth the day this book was written. And Adam did not have Genesis, but he taught those children of his from his own teachings. Because as we proceed, you realize that how is it that the Jews were never confused about the Messiah? How is it that they anticipated his coming from the ancient times? It is because Adam also knew about the Messiah, bro. Yeah, it's not Isaiah who came with the prophecy of the Messiah for the first time. Messiah's coming was foretold by Elohim himself to Adam, because you realize that in the book of Adam, that Adam repented. Adam and Eve were very, very sorry for what they did. But that information is not here. That information is not here. And it is important information. Whatever you do with it is really up to you again. And if you are stuck on these 66 books, I am telling you, if you're asking Elohim to give you revelation, and every time he sends you to read as an article, he sends you to listen to someone's work, you want to tell him, you want to quote for him what this book says. Now, who is the owner of the message? Is it this ink and paper, or the voice behind the ink and the paper? Because we need to stop pretending that Elohim stopped speaking the day this book was compiled. You know, Elohim speaks, and he has things being written about himself up to today. You cannot exhaust him. These 66 books cannot exhaust him. Even the ones that I'm talking about, the lost books, they still don't exhaust him. You know, they cannot. He is limitless. You cannot know him fully. And you cannot be quoting the Bible to him when he is trying to say something to you. You cannot say that, you know, my pastor did not say that. You know, it is not written in the Bible that. What is the Bible before Elohim? What is the Bible before Elohim other than ink and paper? I want to also make it clear that David did not have the book of Psalms. I was discussing with a friend of mine, and we just realized that maybe even the book of Psalms was just David's journals. David maybe never thought that these books will be read. These books will be quoted. Some people will lack aspiration from Elohim and be quoting me for the rest of their lives. Yeah? You see, we cannot be David. We cannot live like Adam. We are not Adam. We are not Eve. We are not them. We have a responsibility to live out the word in present day as they lived out their word in their present times. Like when we get to chapter 3. And you see now Adam is active. Adam is active from the last parts of chapter 2, where he is naming the animals and stuff. And then we will proceed to chapter 3, where now you can see the serpent appearing for the first time. Adam was just living his life like you and me, you know. But we have been Christians and believers that hold on to these pages, that you don't even live your story. You don't even know your divine story. You have not even let your soul unfold. Because you keep comparing yourself time and time again to Esther. You keep comparing yourself time and time again to Peter. You keep quoting Paul's work. You know, Paul was a Roman. And if we are being honest, we cannot have a Roman have the most parts of the gospel and just assume that the disciples never wrote books. The disciples have books. Even Judas, I'm told, he has a book. I have read the book of Thomas. I have read so many books. I have read the lost books of John. You know, there's so many books that you can read from. So anyway, let us begin. Let us begin right from the top. I want to say first, I'm not teaching this only to Christians. I'm teaching this to everyone. So every teaching that I'm going to do will be suitable for everyone, because I am not here to convert anyone to Christianity. I am not even here to convince you to believe. I just want you to know. That's all. So that you're not manipulated, so that you don't ever say you didn't know or you were not told or taught. Now, in the beginning, Elohim created the Elohim and the earth. Elohim is not like a singular word. It is plural. The Shemahim and the earth. So number one, this is not one person. This is plural, you know. And you will understand as we move who this name is about. And now, let us see. The earth came to be formless, empty, and the darkness was on the face of the deep. And the Ruah of Elohim was moving on the face of the waters. One, we have mentioned matter, we have mentioned time, and we have mentioned space. The Shemahim, this is what you call the heavens. This is matter. the earth. This is the creator, and I have said it is not one person. And then you will see that we also have the element of the wind here, the ruah. So the ruah means wind or spirit or air. You don't touch it. It is, when you say the Holy Spirit, you mean the Ruach HaKodesh. That's the Hebrew name of the Holy Spirit. So when you mention these, you mention the wind. When you mention the earth, you mention matter. When you mention the Shamahim, you mention the heavens. Now the earth was formless, empty, and darkness was on the face of the deep, and the Ruach of Elohim was moving on the face of the waters. We have the other element, water. You have to keep track of these elements because they appear almost everywhere in this word. Now, Elohim said, "Let light come to be," and light came to be. I want to also make this clear. You see, the sun is not the source of light because the very first day, Abba created light. And when he created light, he didn't create the sun or the moon alongside it. Like those came later. And Elohim saw that the light was good, and Elohim separated the light from darkness. What is the source of light then? What brings light to the earth? Does it mean that if you get rid of the sun, there would still be light? Do we even need the moon and the sun for the light? Or then what is the light here? What does it refer to? You must question. You must question. So this is your assignment. Your assignment comes from here. The name, Bereshit. I want you to go do a deep study on what this entails. Because if you do a real study on this very name alone, you'll understand that your big bro, Jesus now, dies here. He didn't die in Mark. He didn't die in John. He didn't die even in Luke or Matthew. He died here. You see this name, the configurations of this name, when the Jews read this name, there is the symbolism of the nails, beyond the nail, beyond the nail. Other than the nails, we have the Alpha and the Omega. So your bro shows up from here. This is where he saved you from. So when a pastor tells you that because of sin, you cannot you are being oppressed by the devil, I don't know. Whatever they tell you, they are telling you that because you don't know and you don't care to educate yourself. And they themselves might even be ignorant. So they don't even know what they're talking about. Because before Adam, Jesus is here. By whatever name you choose to call him, whether you call him Alpha and Omega, whether you call him Jesus, whether you call him like me, big bro, that's really up to you. But you must know. You must know the times. And why did he die here? You might ask, why did he die here? Because, let me tell you, you don't catch God off guard. You see, Adam and Eve did not catch God off guard. God now is seated, and in chapter 3, he didn't know the devil would attempt to make Adam and Eve fall. My guy. The devil was defeated from here. The guy is just confused. He was defeated from here. So if you read the translations of this word, or the meaning of this Bereshit, you will see Aleph and you will see Tav. I am the beginning and I am the end. It begins with me and it ends with me, Jesus would say. So you don't talk about Jesus as if he's a middleman. Jesus is not a broker. He didn't come to broke for your salvation. He saved you and me from here. Okay? So think of it like the game of chess. Mchezo ukianza, kuna mwenye alikuwa ashachezwa na akashindwa. And the game was not against you. As you will see, this Bible, when it begins here, it doesn't tell you what happened with the devil. It doesn't tell you what happens in heaven. Like, how did Lucifer fall? It is not here. And you must ask the tough questions. You must ask the tough questions. Don't just be a follower. Be a student. And students must ask questions. So you have to ask questions. But anyway, let us proceed. He saw that the light was good, and he called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So that tells you that day and night existed before moon and the sun. And he called night, and there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, day one. In the spiritual clock, you count time from evening to morning. You don't go morning to evening. In the spiritual time and clock, your first watch begins at 6 p.m. So these watches are important. These watches are important. And Elohim said, let an expanse come to be in the midst of the waters, and let it separate waters from the waters. And Elohim made the expanse and separated the waters which were under the expanse from the waters which were above the expanse. I want to make this clear. No one has been to space. There is no space. This is the oldest history of mankind. I am not saying it is exactly accurate, because this book itself has been translated, mistranslated, it has been obscured, information has been omitted. It is biased in a way. So keep that in mind. No one has been where? To space, because this expanse is the firmament. Above the firmament and under the firmament, there was water. No one knows how much water is above this expanse. No one knows how much water is below, is below this expanse, this firmament. We don't know how much water is below us. We don't know. So no one has been either below us, no one has been above us. Like, we are all trapped here under this expanse. You must know that. So there is no moon landing, there is no Mars, there is just Earth. Elohim called the expanse the Shamahim, and there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, the second day. I want you to know that God does not live in heaven. Okay? God does not live in heaven, because He created heaven outside of heaven. He does not stay there. He created there, but He was not there. Where was He? Is a question you should ask. Where was He? Because the first time heavens are mentioned, He exists already. And He is the creator of it. And He is the one naming it. Okay? And the second day, He called it the Shamahim. And Elohim said, let the waters under the firmament be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear. And it came to be so. And Elohim called the dry land earth, and the collection of the waters He called the seas. And Elohim saw that it was good. So this tells you that earth, this dry land, is formed out of water. Okay? So water, the wind have all appeared already. Water, the wind, and now the earth, the dry land has appeared. That's like 3 elements so far. And Elohim called the dry land earth, and the collection seas, and He saw that it was good. And Elohim said, let the earth bring forth grass, and plant that yield seed, and seed that yield fruit according to its kind, and whose seed is in itself on the earth. Now, this is about provision. This is about provision. This is also a business idea. For those of you that are entrepreneurs, you must use God's business principles when you're creating any business. If you must create a business, you must create a business that is like a seed that must reproduce itself without you there. But if you create a business that does not reproduce in your absence, then it's not a business. It is just another job. So if you are looking for business ideas, read Genesis 1 verse 11. If you read this part, you realize that the ecosystem runs by itself without God having to show up again and to create again. He doesn't have to come back. Because why? The seeds produce on their own, and the fruit produce the seeds. Now, when you see Jesus saying that you will know them by their fruits, he's quoting Genesis. If you want to know a good person, you will know them by their fruit. If you want to know a bad person, you will know them by their fruit. They are not different because you yield what you are, not what you're not. You yield what you are. And the earth brought forth grass, the plant that yields seeds according to its kind, and the tree that yields fruits, whose seed is in itself according to its kind. So you don't see a mango tree confused about its identity. A mango tree brings forth a mango fruit. A mango fruit in it has a mango seed. In like manner, human beings yield fruits because of the seeds, the type of seed they are. They cannot be any different. Okay? And Elohim saw that it was good. So Jesus was quoting from Genesis. And there came to be evening and there came to be morning on the third day. Elohim said, let lights come to be in the expanse of the Shemahim to separate the day and the night, and let them be signs. What? They are signs. What are they signs for? That's a question you should ask. What are they signs for? And who is supposed to be looking at these signs? Appointed times? Bro, appointment. It means someone has booked you, man. So God knew times from here. The appointed times. It tells you there are things that he knew must unfold, will unfold at any given point of time that he himself has selected as the appointed time. Because what are you appointing in Genesis 1? What are you appointing in Genesis 1? For days and for years. God is not confused. Now, to God, you cannot allocate days. To God, you cannot allocate years. He is outside of these. Okay? And this is not the first mention of time. The first mention of time is here, in. In means time. God is not in time. God does not live in time. You cannot say God is this old or that old. No one knows. Because there is no time to him. And let them be light in the expanse of the Shemahim to give light on the earth. And it came to be so. I want you to understand that in the book of Enoch it is written. We will read the book of Enoch. We will read the book of Enoch. Tuko hapa kuchambua, si kusoma kumaliza. And me, I'm not here to make you a Christian. I said. In fact, this Bible is not about Christians. This is a Jew's history. The oldest history of mankind that's available. Forget the millions of years the science tells you. That's nonsense. Now, Elohim made two light, the greater light to rule over the day, and the lesser light to rule the night and the stars. So the moon rules the night and the stars. The sun rules the day. Elohim placed them in the expanse of the Shemahim to give light on the earth. But are they the source of light? Because light came first. Okay? So, you must be willing to know the depth of this. You must be willing to know. Light is here, and light is here. Now let us continue. There came to be evening and there came to be morning the fourth day. And Elohim said, let the waters teem with the shore of the living creatures, and let the birds fly above the earth on the face of the expanse of the Shemahim. So he is creating the sea creatures and the birds of the air. And Elohim created great sea creatures and every living creature that moves, with which the waters teemed according to their kind, and every winged bird according to its kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. I want you to know this. If you take fish from water, it dies because it is formed by water. If you take a human being from earth, he will die because he himself is dust. It works the same. Try uprooting a tree from the earth and tell me how long that tree will survive. Everything, when it's got disconnected to its source, it just dies. Fish, water. You will see where man comes in. And Elohim baraka him, say, bear fruit. So this is the command of the animals. Even the animals have this command. You see, you cannot teach a fish how to swim, but human beings must be taught how to be human beings. I just don't get it sometimes. You know? I just don't get why we are so ignorant than the fish. They have the same commandment as we are. We have this commandment. Bear fruit and increase. The fish multiply, man. The fish increase in the water. And every other creature there does the same. And they fill the waters in the sea. And the birds too increase on the earth. So we don't teach birds how to fly. We don't teach fish how to swim. But somehow we must teach human beings how to be human beings. Someone is lying to someone. I think you can be a human being without being in a classroom or ever in a classroom or to a church or a temple or a synagogue or wherever you go. You are a human being. You will just be a human being. You cannot be anything else. And there came to be evening and there came to be light. Now, Elohim made the beasts of the earth according to their kind, livestock according to its kind, and the creeping on the earth according to its kind. And Elohim made the beasts of the earth according to its kind, livestock according to its kind, and all that creep on the earth according to its kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. Awanyama wote for the dry land, they also appear here. Okay? And Elohim said, let us. You remember I told you that he was not alone? Remember I told you your big bro appears here. Hapa, mwanzo. So when he's saying, let us make man in our image. Yeah? I want us to sit with this verse for a while. Elohim said, let us make man in our image according to our likeness. When you make something in the image of something, it's like you duplicate it. You duplicate it. Okay? When you make an image of this Bible, for instance, or this page, you're likely to make a similar page. In wording, ink, even probably the difference will just be the type of paper you use. But it will be the same. So let us make man in our image according to our likeness. According to our likeness. Bro, everything that this page can do, whatever copy you make of it will also do. Our likeness. You are like God. I know you fear that responsibility. We have a certain fear of how much power we have. It is not that we don't know we have the power. We just don't like knowing to what extent. It's kind of we are afraid of ourselves. If you really accepted you are in the image of God, I think we would carry ourselves better. I think he would treat other people better. I think we would do better as a race, a human race, or as a species altogether. Because when you look at this and you're looking at this from the angle of let us make man in our own image according to our own likeness, let them rule over. Rule. Not below, not beside, over. The fish of the sea and over the birds of the Shamahim. Let us proceed. And over the Shamahim, and over the livestock, and over the earth, and all the creatures that creep on the earth. So, you have been given authority from here. One, not by this statement alone, but by this first, our image. So God is saying that if I am capable of this, man is capable of this. If I'm capable of this, man is capable of this. If I look like this, man look like this. Your body is not you. You just live in a body. There's your image. That's the image of God. When we read the lost books of Adam and Eve, you realize that Adam used to be like different. After he fell, he took upon himself the flesh of the beasts. But Adam knew the likeness, this likeness. Your forefather knew what it means to be in the likeness, in the image. Let them rule over the fish and over the sea and over the birds of the Shamahim and over the livestock and over all the earth and over all the creeping creatures that creep on the earth. And Elohim created man in his image, bro. In his image. I think if we really accepted who we are, we would do better to each other. We would do better for each other. We would be better even for ourselves. Like, this greed would not be something we are dealing with, because if you know who you are, you know you lack nothing. God lacks nothing. You lack nothing as well. The image of Elohim, he created him. He didn't change his mind. And he is emphasizing. See the emphasis. Image. Picture. Image. This is emphasis. So that you're not confused. This is emphasis. It's like God knew that these niggas will be confused at the end of the day, man. So I have to record it. And he did. So he emphasized a lot. He created him. Male and female. He created them. This is the first time we see gender of the male and the female species. And Elohim barakat them. And Elohim said to them, now listen. Listen to your first assignment. Your first assignment is not a degree. Your first assignment is not learning English. Your first assignment is this: bear fruit and increase. Bear fruit. At whatever capacity you are in, you must bear fruit and increase. Alafu tumesema matunda nayo utazaa kulingana na ile mbegu umebeba. So if you are a mango, you can only be a mango. If you are an apple, you can only be an apple. But the point is, whether you are a mango or an apple, it is expected that you bear fruit, and you must. This is not negotiable. You must increase and fill the earth, and you must subdue it. So just as the animals have a command, and they just naturally abide by it, we also have a command that every time we neglect these, we feel empty. You feel empty, you feel drained, you feel as if you're not being productive. It is not because you have a choice. It is because it is engraved in your being that it is expected by nature that you must bear fruit, and you must increase, and you must fill the earth, and you must subdue it. And you must rule over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the Shemahim, and over the creatures that move on the earth. You have a responsibility to the earth, you have a responsibility to yourself, and you have a responsibility to the animals. Elohim said, I have given you every plant that yields seeds. Hatuwezi kuwa tunangoja GMO. Isi GMO. You see, if there is a plant, there is a seed. If you consume the plant, you will automatically enable the ecosystem to yield another plant, because the seed will eventually leave your body, and there it will yield a plant. And I don't know why people starve, because this is a lot of food. You should eat every plant that yields seed, which is on the face of the earth, and every tree whose fruit yields seed to you is for food. So trees are they are here to feed us. You know, God provided for men. God had a provision plan for men before men. In fact, God had the idea of food before the idea of the one consuming the food. So God has a solution for your problem, or whatever problem that you might be faced with. Before the problem, God is not caught off guard. And that we must let sink. And every beast of the earth, and every bird of the Shemahim, and every creeping creature on the earth in which there is breath of life, every green plant is for food. I don't know who came up with the idea of don't eat this, eat this, don't eat this, eat this. This is what God is saying. Ukielewa kiwewewewe ni sawa. But every beast of the earth, and every bird of the Shemahim, and every creeping creature on the earth, in which there is breath of life, don't eat dead things. Every green plant, don't eat brown plants, are for food. By brown, I mean dried up. Don't eat dried up foods. They're not good for your body. And it came to be so. And Elohim saw that all that he had made, and see, it was very good. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, the 6th day. No, that's all about chapter 1. That's just chapter 1. So we have done chapter 1, and I pray that you have understood something good here. Understand who you are, your capacity. Imagine being a techno, a duplicate of a techno, then you can perform as the original techno from which you have been made out of. If you have been made out of this, then you can act like this. I will leave it up to there, and we will pick it up from chapter 2 in the next episode. We will do one chapter at a time. There is no rush. Otherwise, share this video, like this video, comment on this video, and share with someone who might need it.